Thank you. I'm Larry Hamilton. Welcome to my YouTube painting channel. Thanks for watching. We're going to paint a still life today, and it's one that I did several years ago actually. I painted this one up here at the top, and I used this as sort of a model from a painter, an oil painter named Chong Wong, and very good oil painter. I like this picture. So I'm going to try to put it in another scene. Instead of having pears, we're going to have either some eggs or lemons or something here in a bowl, and fairly simple, but the thing that really draws your eye is this picture. So that's what we're going to work on. I want to show you that picture up close. I'm going to go to my computer and explain to you. I don't have another photograph really, because it's basically a painting I did while doing this one. So let me go get on my computer and I'll show you the sketch up close, and be right back. All right, here's my my painting that I did, I think 2014, probably 6 years ago now. So I really like this picture, and I want to try to do it again. So I made a sketch. The sketch that you saw at the beginning is a little bit different than this sketch. I shortened it slightly and narrowed the top of it a little bit more to make it more appropriate, I think, in terms of scale and closer to the look of the original painting. So that's really all I want to show you here at the computer. Nothing exotic or special. So I'm going to go back and we'll set this up and we'll get painting right away. So this paper is Fabriano Artistico 300-pound cold press paper, 11 by 14 inches, and I have my sketch on here. There's a sketch on the website that you can look at if you want to check it out and download it from the website. There's also, I think, a photo of this with a grid on it, so that will help you. And then I'm getting my camera all set up here for the palette as well. So hopefully everything's streaming, everything's working, everything's recording, and excuse me, I'm having little throat problems today. And so we'll get going. So here's the sketch. Let me show you. I meant to show you first my palette and tell you the colors again. I'm using Sterling Edwards brushes here, a small and a medium bristle brush, a couple nylon flats. I got a 1 inch and a 1/2 inch flat. I got 3 rounds. I got a number 12, number 8, number 4 round, and I've got a little script liner here, number 6 script liner. So that's the brushes. I don't know if I'll use all of them. I don't know exactly what I'm going to need yet, but I'll kind of react as we get into the painting. Let me go around the palette and explain the paints to you. If you follow my watercolor, you know this is the same paints. These are Holbein paints, and this color here is Payne's Gray, Cobalt Blue, Ultramarine Deep, Royal Blue, Permanent Violet, Green, Gray, Umber, Burnt Sienna, Quinacridone Scarlet, Bright Rose, Brilliant Orange, Quinacridone Gold, Permanent Yellow Deep, and Cad Yellow Lemon. So that's the palette. Let me put it back in place and we'll get going. I'm going to start by wetting my paper here with this 1 inch small brush, and this is 300 pound. The last few watercolors I've done have been on, it's been 300 pound, but it hasn't been cold press. It's been hot press. Cold press has a lot more dimples in the paper, has a lot more places for the paint to kind of bump over the surface, and it makes it, you get different textures with the cold press than you do with the hot press. And so to get similar textures with hot press, sometimes you have to work a little harder, but the cold press here is going to give us something to work from that's maybe a little easier to manipulate and get some of the textures we want. So this cold press 300 pound paper takes a lot of water. I've got several lights on in here, as you may have seen when I started up, and so I want to make sure that it's good and soaked, because I want this background to be all nice and soft and blended together. And then we'll, as we get some of the basic paints on here, we will Probably dry this thing with a hairdryer, and I just realized I didn't have my hairdryer up here with me, so I'm going to get it up here by the easel now, and we'll have it ready to go when I need it. When you have a technical problem like this, sometimes you forget a couple things, so I think I'm all set to go now. If you have any questions, folks, please put something in the chat window, and I'll be able to talk to you and see what you're writing, and maybe respond, maybe answer a question. So this is nice and wet now, and that's the way I want it. So we're going to start with this background color, which is a combination of some yellows and some browns. Quinacridone gold I'm going to throw in there. That's a very bright yellow. Throw in some burnt sienna. And these are some of the colors that are going to be in that picture as well. But let's just see what we can do here with this background. Put in a few strokes like this, and put a few more across like this. Come down, I want it to stop right here. I'm going to sort of paint around this picture. Actually, I wouldn't have to paint around this so carefully because everything on this picture is lighter. Everything here is going to be, everything's going to be darker. The background's going to be lighter. This is what you would typically call a high key painting, which means it has it's in the lighter side of the color palette. And so let's see, put a few more over here. It's maybe getting too dark. Let me throw in a little Payne's Gray over here. This side will come down. It'll probably turn a little green, but that's okay. Here, now if these are going to be eggs, I think they're going to make these eggs. They look more like they're the size of eggs than they do lemons. So we'll use that. Put a little more of this dark Payne's Gray over here, a little bit of darker tones, and put that in. Come back, and while this is drying off over here on the right side, I want to put just a few more colors in there, something like this in some spots. Just want to give it some variation so that it's not just all one color. Okay. I could make that just a little darker maybe on the left side. A little more Payne's Gray. Something like this. It's running. I paint vertically, as you know. So I have to be a little more careful with the water than I would maybe if I were painting on a horizontal surface. Okay, I've got a nice big bleed coming down here, kind of where my highlight's going to be. I want to take some of that out. I want a white highlight right here that I want to try to preserve, so I don't want that to be totally covered with that paint. Okay, a little bit in the foreground down here. Maybe it's a little bit more of a yellow, a little bit different color yellow or something. Let's throw in a few things over here like this. I'm going to throw a few grapes and stuff in here, I think, in the foreground. Maybe even an orange. Put an orange right there, maybe. I don't know. The thing I copied originally was just an orange and a few grapes in front of this glazed picture, it's called. All right. So everybody's still with me? Still broadcasting, and this has been fun today. Okay, so let's let that dry for a few minutes. And if you want to pick up some places to where you don't want to paint, you can kind of use a paper towel and kind of blot some areas and keep the paint out of there as much as you can. Got some areas I want to be highlighted here. Okay. Let me get my hair dryer out, and I'm going to dry this. And while I do that, I'm going to turn my microphone off so I don't blow your ears out. Okay. Okay, I'm back, and I should have this fairly dry. I don't need to have it perfectly dry. I'm not going to do a lot of painting in this background. I am going to put some other colors over here, but right now I'm going to just stick with this, what I have. This seems to be fairly dry. Always test the paper with the back of your hand instead of the front. You have more oil on the front of your hand, so if you test it with the back, you're not putting undue amounts of oil on this paper. So that's a good idea. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to take a little of this, I don't know, this stuff that's in the palette here, whatever color it is, and I'm going to just put in a few things around these, make them look like they might be sort of an eggy color maybe, I don't know. Put something in so I've got something to work from. Leaving little highlights on them so that the light is going to look like it comes from the left, which is where I want the light to come from. I can darken these up. I'm going to put a few darks in between them to sort of separate them. But right now, you can't even see that hardly on the camera, I don't think. I'm going to put it in a little basket, so I'll just go ahead and use I've got my number 12 brush here, and let's put in a little bit of a basket here that's going to echo some of the colors in the picture. There we go, something like that. Maybe a little darker around the back end here. Okay, something like that. We don't have to make that perfect, but I want to have those colors in there. All right. Now let's look at this big old picture here. I got to get some burnt sienna and put maybe just a touch of red in that to redden it up a little bit. It's pretty red as it is, but I want it to have this orangish color, so I'm going to maybe mix a little orange in there. I don't know. See what the colors look like here. And we're going to start down here with this color. I need some more orange, more brown. Okay, fill this in here. Like this. Making it pretty dark. A lot of bright orange in here. This paper is dry, but it's a little drier than it would have been. Just painting around a couple of oranges and things here in here. I want to pick up some umber. This umber is going to give me a darker shadow down here in this area, which is something I want to try to achieve. It's got to be darker than that. Come on, let's get some dark in there. There we go, a little bit like that. Trying to make these soft edges as much as possible, so that I don't have to painting around some grapes that are going to be sitting over here. If I can get a lot of soft edge in here, it's going to make it a lot nicer. And it look like it blends together better than okay. Getting a puddle down here at the bottom. If you can get these edges before they harden, you'll get a nice soft edge on them. You have to kind of be on top of it. You can't let it sit too long without putting more paint or more water or something on it. So that's what I'm trying to do here now, to get it so that these colors blend and they don't leave hard edges. In the one I did several years ago, I didn't know any better, and I sort of made them, I had a lot of hard edges in it, and I realized my mistake now. And it was all about trying to control the edges so they're not hard. Like right here, I want this to be softer, so I'm just going to put some clear water on it and pull it up there and get me some darker, this dark Payne's gray here. I'm going to be putting it in here so that it kind of blends with what's going on up here, and make it much darker on this side. It's out of the light, but I want it to have this soft blendedness. If I can get it that way. These are where the glazing and the of the picture kind of runs down, and they paint it over. This all sort of hooks together here. Something like this. See, I was getting a hard edge right there. It's starting to harden up on me, just because it's drying out. I'm in a fairly dry climate here, and let me get some of this royal blue, I think, and put in there. Royal blue is a good color for darkening, and pull it down like this. So if I can get it while it's still wet, I can get it all merged together very nicely. Like that. And up here, start pulling down some of this. Get it to merge with that before I get it too much of a hard edge. And leave my darks in here. That. Throw in a few of those other colors, maybe. Pull this down. Keep a little patch of white there. Something like that. It's starting to look like a real picture, maybe. Here we want to make this some roundedness to it. So I'm just going to hit that, merge it together, dry the brush off, soften the edges, connect it together here. We're going to get back into the brown color here as we move around this handle. Has to be more orange. Pick up some orange and put in there. Like this, we'll have a blur it together a little bit with some coloring here, darken it more down here. I want it to blend. Something like that, so I don't have this hard edge right here. It's too hard. So we can blend it with our finger, maybe blend it with our paper towel, something. Go back up here in this area and put in a few more bluish highlights. That royal blue is good for that. This looks too much like a rectangle, so I'm going to see if I can fix that so it's not quite a rectangle. Try to avoid making hello, Denise from Brazil. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I think you missed some of my early technical difficulties again, but no loss. Got started a few minutes late. Okay, now the back of this picture has more really dark stuff on it. I'm getting a royal blue, Payne's gray. Come back here and put in really dark. Leave a little edge there for the lip. And I can darken that down. You always try to paint watercolors, you paint light to dark. Start with the lightest colors and go darker if you can. That's a general rule, not fixed and hard fast, but a few more things here. Mix in something like this. Give ourselves another little highlight over here. Again, dry or a brush with like clear water in it. No water, take it and stamp it out so that it's really, there's a nice soft edge. See how that works? Very nice soft edge. Got a little bit of a spot here I missed. More soft edges needed. Let's put a few more in there, and clear water again. Just sort of merge it together. Pull it down, darken it just a little. All right, that looks like a pretty decent picture, I'd say. Background over here, we've got it's kind of just sitting on a table of some sort, and I want to put the back of that table in here. However, well, let's see, let's do that now. Let's go ahead and put that in and sort of get our background area set up here. So I'm going to make it about right here. Make that darker. I want it to show behind this picture. It is really creating, there's a shadow over there on the right side from this, so let's put some more stuff in over there. We have a picture that's got some shadows, it's making some shadows over there. And let that go. Give me another paper towel here. Okay. All right, so that's pretty good shape there. We're going to work on some of these grapes now. See what color we're going to get for grapes. I'm going to get this royal blue and maybe my bright rose and see what happens. Bright rose and royal blue are giving me interesting grape color. And I've got some more of that royal blue. I can make this bluer if I want. Or I can make it more reddish if I want by just changing the composition. But right in here we've got some grapes that I'm going to throw in. Probably need to be darker than that, maybe. Let's try a little, it's darker blue here. And so we don't have to draw every grape. We can just sort of put them together in a bundle and put some highlights in, put some dark places in that we have, leave a few little openings like where the light's hitting. That's going to say a bunch of grapes kind of sitting there. Maybe there's one that's just kind of sitting down here by himself. Okay, try some more of this dark blue and get a very dark color. Throw a few over here maybe. There's probably a couple more over here this way that are sort of connected. We just put the little circles that look like it would be grapes. Add some other colors. It's what's on the outside of these things that tell you what they are. It's not not that I'm making perfect grape circles everywhere, but it's that you see the outside surface and you say, oh, that's got to be a grape. It can't be anything else. If I don't do it right, I can make it look like a flower, I suppose. But okay, we'll put maybe another one over here. Just let this. All still lifes need some, I call it debris. I've heard one artist call it debris at the bottom. You just sort of sprinkle some things along the bottom and make it look like something there. It could be a leaf, it could be a part of a fruit or part of a vegetable or something that might be on the ground, on the table. So I'm going to get my script liner here and see if I can get a few little stems for these grapes. They're going to kind of connect them together and make it look like there's something going on here, like this. There's some things are connected together somehow, like that. It's kind of hard for you to see maybe, but they are connected some way. There's maybe a piece of stem down here, some garbage, some stuff. Let's see here, maybe pick up a little of this other color and add a few more things to this. It looks like we've got some grapes. Okay. So in the areas where it's really darkest under these grapes, I want to put a very, very dark shadow type of thing going on here, like this. Maybe a shadow on this side that's sort of connecting there, shadow here. So I'm just sort of defining these grapes now by just putting some shadows around them, right? We'll have some shadow out there, shadow over here, same idea over here, except I got a little bit different color there. I'll get back to my dark separator here. Something like this. Something like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to give yourself something that really looks like it's grapes anyway. A couple of bunches of grapes right in here. Let's see if I can really make this red-orange, really orange. And maybe another one right behind it, a bit darker. value. Not that dark. Something like this. There. Over here we've got some more definition to do below this. Basket. Just go to filling in back here behind these grapes to get something going on back there. Still lifes can be very impressionistic. You don't have to make them all perfect, and so I'm just putting some tone in here to kind of close this corner off a little bit. There, like that. I'm going to put some shadow in there. I need more dark in here. Some sort of a shadow here, even down here maybe. Like that. It's helping set that bottom off so that it stands out, and something like that. These little eggs or whatever they are up here in this basket, I'm going to try to maybe highlight those a little bit with some shadows and that sort of thing around them. So I'm just using this sort of yellowish, brownish color I have here, and separate these eggs into something that looks like they might be eggs. I don't know if you can even see that well. Put a little top on them around here to sort of help you see that a little better. Could have made those lemons, I suppose, but hey, I don't know. It's your painting. If you like lemons better than eggs, put some lemons in there. This little basket's going to have some things like that on it. I can see it. You probably can't. But we'll put that on, let it sort of work its way. The other thing I can do for these, help these eggs stand out, is come back and put just a little bit of this background color back in there. It's kind of doing it backwards, but when you have this light of a high key background and you put some high key items in the basket, you have to do something to help them stand out a little better. So now you can see there's something in that basket that you couldn't see before. Got the same problem now. I've got to watch out for a hard edge up here. If I don't want a hard edge, I don't want a hard edge right in this area for sure. Up here, I guess I could use could represent the back of a table or something back there, which means it should be about in line with this over here, which I'm not sure it is. A little more, something over here. Needs to go up a little higher on the right side. Something like this. And let's put some more shadow in over here on this side. We need more, something that's darker over here to make it look like we really have a shadow of this picture being reflected on the tabletop. So I'm just using this color I've got in my palette and getting at that sort of thing here. Something like that. Darken it down. Other types of debris and stuff we could put on here, some little spots of things that just sort of show up, end up on the top of the table. And see, I want to flip that back down over there. All right, and you don't need a whole lot more than that. I want to put maybe a little indicator if there's a window or something up here. I was going to put in a dark streak down like this. It might be a window or something over there. Let it be kind of soft, some hard edges here. And you don't have to paint that all in. You don't have to make a rectangle out of it. Just put in some things that look like there's something there. It just sort of helps balance this out. We have a lot of weight over here. This kind of helps balance that out. It wasn't in the previous painting I did, but it wasn't balanced the same. The previous painting, everything was sort of right in the center. And it didn't really need that. This here I have this really dark over here, and put a few more things in there. And you know what? We've been going about 30 some minutes, 35 maybe. Put in a few little splatters here and there, kind of loosen things up. Come back into my eggs. I'm going to put a few more shadows in on these things to help define them just a little better. We need to have a highlight in there, but I don't need to have it maybe that big. So hopefully I can get these a little better defined. I don't know if I've ever painted an egg before, so I don't know whether this is going to look like eggs or not. If it doesn't, you can make it look like whatever you want it to look like. Eggs are usually white, so you're trying to do white on white paper, which doesn't always work. But we've got something that's sort of grayed down, got some gray and brown in it. And over here's one more. Okay, now what that represents is I don't have enough dark really in the bottom. Right in here I need to really beef this up because it needs to help the bottoms of those stand out as well and make the distinction between them more specific. All right, something like that. All right, I think I'm going to hold off on this. Maybe I'll work on it a little bit after I stop our streaming. But right now, I think I'm going to stop and put my name on it and call it finished, and sit back and see if there's anything else I need to do. I do think these need to be a little darker in here. I should have looked at that a minute ago. Let's darken these up, and then we'll call it quits. Using this script liner, and it's not very good for that. That's a little better. Let's see, put a few more darks over here. Like that. Maybe strengthen this a little bit. All right, I think that's about all I can do for that. Get my script liner and come back and put my name on it now. Here somewhere. All right, folks. Zoom back here, take off my palette, and say thank you for watching. Thanks for putting up with my technical problems today and staying with me. And wanted to please subscribe to this. If you're not a subscriber, I realize a lot of the people that watch me aren't subscribers, so you can do that very easily. Press that subscribe button. There's a little bell right next to it if you want to get notified when I upload a new video. You can click that bell and you'll also get notified. And check on Antonio Romo's website for that piano music that I was playing before. If you like his work, check his site and subscribe to his site if you will. So check out my website, check out my Facebook page. Some sketches are available below this video. There's some links for those, and so you can give it a try at your leisure if you haven't had a chance to paint along with me. And so I think that's all I want to say for now. So until I see you again, this is Larry Hamilton saying so long for now. Bye-bye.